Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Kingdom Soldier, and I'm back again with another gameplay slash commentary. I was online on the sticks last night, and I was playing Xbox, and we were just having fun. I mean, I think last night and Judgment Awaits called me out on it on Twitter. I was challenging Godly Disciple. I challenged him to see who could die 100 times first, and it was a lot of fun, And I was just one of those moods where I didn't really want to play seriously, so we stopped playing league play, and we just were playing pubs and having fun. Poor Ocho Blanco was playing the game all seriously. But during that game, last night, Ocho Blanco was like, after that game was over, we were in the lobby, and Ocho he was like, oh, Fox News alert, 5 people found dead south of Seattle in a shooting. And I was like, what? I live south of Seattle. I was like, where did you read that at? He was like, oh, it's just a Fox News alert. And so I'm, freaking out, and I'm going on the internet, and I'm looking, and and we still to this point don't know what happened. I'm sure you guys maybe have heard of this story, but what it looks like is that the police showed up and responded to a call that there were gunshots. The police showed up and they got into a gunfight with one person, killed that person, and they found another body in the parking lot. And then they went into the apartments to search the apartment where that person lived. They found another body, and then they went into a whole separate apartment and found another body. And what I forgot to say is that there were 2 bodies that they found in the parking lot. So they found 2 bodies, one in one apartment, one in some other apartment, and then they found 2 bodies in the parking lot where they shot and killed someone that was shooting at them. To this point, they have no idea what happened. And this is in a city called Federal Way, which is actually really close to where I live right now in Kent. Actually, it's like probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from me. And it's actually the city where I worked when I worked at Starbucks recently, and where I managed a Starbucks. And at my Starbucks I used to manage, there was actually a police-involved shooting in the parking lot, and they had to lock down my Starbucks and everything. I wasn't there that day, but it was crazy. And, it got me to thinking, this is a crazy time in our history as a nation. Just it seems like everything's falling apart. It's like we've got Boston being bombed. We've got school shootings once a year. It seems like there's some crazy school shooting, or mass killing once a year that happens. And then you've also got, things like this, which is these ridiculous shootouts. There's mysterious packages showing up all over the country. There's people that are, getting involved in all this terrorist activity. And yeah, I know that in other countries this kind of stuff happens all the time. And, Americans we're kind of in this mode where we're realizing that this stuff is coming home. And there's multiple ways that we can respond to what's happening. And I believe there's only 3 main ways. You can either respond with fear by being afraid of everything that's happening. You can respond with faith, just believing that whatever is going on is a part of God's ultimate plan for all of us, and it's going to be all right, and everything's going to work out. It's going to work together for the good of all of us. And then, or lastly, you can respond, you can not respond, basically. You can just act as if it's not happening. You can act as if, that's some other person's world, and that you live in your own world, in your own box, and that has nothing to do with you because it hasn't come to your doorstep yet. And I was having this conversation with a few of the kids from my church the other day, and they were saying that, other countries experience this all the time. Why do Americans get so freaked out about it? And what I said to them is I was just like, it's different. It's like, yeah, other countries deal with it. And of course, we don't freak out about as much about other countries because it's not close to home. When you have, my grandmother lived in New York on 9/11, and my mom had just flown there. And so there was a different sense and a different feeling when I heard that 2 planes had crashed in New York, when I knew that 2 of my very close and well-loved family members were there in New York at that time. And yeah, I was a little afraid. I responded with some fear, like, are they okay? And then, faith kicked in, and I was like, you know what? I believe that everything is cool, that everything's going to work out, and I began to pray for those families that were impacted by that. There's a Buddhist teaching that would say that life is tragedy, and that's one of their main teachings, is that life is tragic, period. And as human beings, the best thing we can do for ourselves personally is to learn how to deal with the tragedy of life, and that includes, one of their biggest things is that you have to learn to lose attachment, and that's one of the reasons why they meditate, is to learn about being equal with all beings, and then detaching yourself from everything and everyone, so that every tragedy that happens, it affects you not at all. It doesn't mean that you don't respond. It just in no way, shape, or form impacts your emotional state, your attitude and everything, and the way you live is not impacted at all by anything that happens. And they talk about separating yourself and removing attachment. Well, the faith that I live by, which is Christianity, the faith that I live by says that, we have to love everyone. Now, that doesn't mean we have to like everyone. That doesn't mean that you have to like, YouTube videos from commentators that you come across that are saying things that you don't agree with. And if you don't agree with what I'm saying, I don't expect you to like my video. It doesn't mean you have to like everybody. But it does mean that, we should love everyone. And love is an unselfish expression of welfare towards others. And so, or an expression of unselfish welfare toward other human beings. And what that means is that when stuff like this happens, for Boston, you sometimes got to, sit back, and this stuff that happened in Federal Way that we literally right now, you turn on the news in Washington and they have no idea what's going on, is that I have to, sit back and say, man, I feel for the mom and the dad and the sister and the brother, or the son, the grandma, the school teacher, the distant friend, the pen pal, whoever has been impacted by the loss of this person. I feel for them, and that's love. It's unselfish. Instead of putting myself first, I put someone else first in that situation. And in responding to all these tragedies and crazy things going on in our nation right now, we ought to put those people that are affected before ourselves and say, I'm not going to speak ill will towards anyone, and our nation deserves it. And, some people are saying stuff like that, and it's just crazy. It's like, no, our nation does not deserve anything that we're receiving, and the people that are going through it, they don't deserve anything that they're receiving. And the stuff that happens in other countries isn't deserved either. This is a little bit different because it's hitting home. I had a former student in my ministry that now is in school in Boston, and of course, one of the first things I want to know is, are you okay? He was, of course, at the running that day, and that's a scary thing, and that's real. There's going to be some fear that's going to come in, but we have to respond, with faith and with prayer and hope and wish, the best for everyone that is involved and that goes through these experiences. This is really, kind of like a random commentary, but I really had the subject of tragedy on my mind, and I kind of wanted to get some feelings out, and I thought, why not share it with my subscribers? I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This is your boy, Kingdom Soldier. Please place your thoughts in the comments below on tragedy and on the subjects that I talked about. I'll see you in the next video.